Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the works of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Students of Wakenham and Laguan Islands Region 3 will now be able to travel to school in much more comfort following the handing over of school buses valued at close to $10 million. On Saturday last, the simple but significant handover was done by Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Darmlal.
Today, I think, is probably the most important because we are contributing to the most important asset that someone could have, and that is knowledge through education. Schools are very important. Going to school is extremely important because I believe that as we progress in our community and in our country, that this is what is going to take us out of poverty, education.
The National Assembly has been formally asked to take action and address the gross misconduct of opposition members of Parliament on December 29, 2021. On the said date, opposition MPs took unprecedented actions to stop the passage of the historic Natural Resource Fund Bill. The request was made by Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, gov't on Monday.
Of special note, Mr. Speaker, is that the space between the government side and the opposition side is in any parliament considered the safe zone, the safe space, and any entrance without permission is interpreted as an act of aggression and a threat to the safety of the members of parliament.
The Human Organ and Tissue Transplant Bill 2021 was passed in the National Assembly on Monday. The implementation of this new piece of legislation will allow for the removal of human organs, tissues, cells, and biofluids for transplantation and blood transfusion. The bill provides for such transplantations to be used in regenerative medicine, for medical education, and for scientific research purposes, and for connected matters.
While we have transfused blood for several decades, and we have been transplanting kidneys since 2008, and we have been transplanting corneas since 2014. There has been no legal framework in place to regulate the donation of blood, organs, cells, or tissues. This legislation is now going to put that framework in place so that this can be done ethically and safely and in keeping with the global best practices.
Dr. Anthony told the National Assembly that the bill will also allow scientists, researchers, and clinicians to start researching and exploiting the benefits of regenerative medicine in Guyana. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Mahabir Anil Nandlal says, contrary to the rhetoric of the opposition, the bill has a series of protective measures. The bill will pave the way for the establishment of a national human organ and tissue transplant agency, which will be responsible for the management of the removal, donation, and transfer of human organs to patients in need. To guard against fraud by purported powers of attorney, the Deeds Registry Amendment Bill of 2021 was passed in the National Assembly on Monday evening. This bill's passage is consequential to the Powers of Attorney Bill, which was passed earlier in the House.
A person who registers, files, or records a document purporting to be a power of attorney in contravention of Section 1 commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $5 million and to imprisonment for 5 years.
The Act makes it an offense for a person to register, file, or record a power of attorney without the attached copies of the photograph identification document and witness statement, in the case of a power of attorney executed outside of Guyana. Government Member of Parliament Sanjeev Dattadin, in support of the amendment, explained that the updated documents to legally obtain a power of attorney are what is required to be filed at the Deeds Registry as records. Documents that must be presented to the Deeds Registry are photographs of the donor of the power and recipient, statements of the witnesses, and the seal of the notary public or magistrate. Government has begun constructing a number of shade houses to advance its agriculture and innovation entrepreneurship program. This initiative will see 25 shade houses being established for the cultivation of 3 high-value crops: carrot, broccoli, and cauliflower. The program was launched by President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali earlier this month.
I came here this afternoon with a number of young people who are involved or who will be involved in the project. I have the three main principal actors here with me, and what I did today is to integrate them in this project. That although we have some workers working to build these shade houses, I want the young people to get involved.
Minister Mustafa said cultivation of the 3 crops will start soon. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel says he believes that the opposition's motion to send the Gas to Shore project to the Special Select Committee is designed to stop Guyana's progress. This project aims to produce power for every Guyanese at a reduced cost, according to the minister. He added that the 50,000 house lots being delivered by the government will utilize this utility.
What we are talking about here is ensuring we have reliable, cheap electricity to ensure that we support Guyana's transformation, modernization, and to bring about prosperity for all the people of Guyana. And we will not allow this pessimistic, grandstanding, nitpicking, fault-finding, finding a few opinion makers who are myopic and unable to see. They are trapped with tunnel vision and they're unable to see straight. We're not going to allow that to hinder our development.
Minister Edgel reiterated that the development of the Gas to Shore project is about the wider development objectives of the PPPC administration. Agreeing with Minister Edgel's views, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, emphasized that the opposition is clueless about the transformation the country is currently undergoing.
To say to the Guyanese people, industry and individuals, that you're not going to cut their bill in any way, shape, or form. You have no plan, and we should park this in some committee for it to stay there and die a natural death is just wrong by all standards. It is just wrong. The suggestion by the honorable member to put this in a committee is to tell the Guyanese people that we don't care about your struggles when your light bill come at the end of the month. We don't care about your struggle if your manufacturing cost is eating out your bottom line. We don't care about your struggle if you're cutting chicken and the blade that you use with the motor is eating into your profit. We don't care about those things. That is what the suggestion, the effects of the suggestion is by the honorable member. But I'll say this to you, the People's Progressive Party care about those things. That is why we're going to do this project. This project, Mr. Speaker, will deliver industrialization in Guyana, Mr. Speaker. It will deliver industrialization in Guyana.
The Gas to Energy project is expected to come on stream by late 2024. It aims to reduce Guyana's energy sector emissions whilst reducing electricity costs by more than half. Government on Wednesday presented a massive $552.9 billion budget in the National Assembly, making it the largest fiscal plan to date, one that is transformative. The budget, themed Steadfast Against All Challenges, Resolute in Building Our One Guyana, contains a slew of measures to create wealth for all Guyanese and improve their livelihoods. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, read the budget, which is centered around the development of people, improving infrastructure, capacity, and an enabling environment for the overall growth of Guyana.
Building on the foundation laid by the previous 2 budgets, Budget 2022 launches what will be the most rapid period of transformation and modernization ever witnessed in Guyana's entire history. As I will shortly elaborate, sir, Budget 2022 provides for massive investment in infrastructure that will change the face of our country forever. Opening vast new tracts of land for productive purposes, establishing entire new communities while connecting others, and making thousands of Guyanese homeowners for the very first time.
In keeping with its manifesto promise, the government would be increasing the Because We Care cash grant from $15,000 to $25,000 for every child that is enrolled in nursery, primary, and secondary schools, both public and private. This comes after the government reinstated the education cash grant after returning to office in August 2020. This will place an additional $2 billion in the homes of children attending both public and private schools. Similarly, the school uniform cash grant has been increased.
I'm pleased to announce that we will increase that grant this year from $4,000 to $5,000 per child, and this will place in the hands, in the homes of those children, an additional $200 million of disposable income.
Also, as promised to ease the cost of living on the elderly, government has proposed to increase old age pension from $25,000 to $28,000, placing an additional $2.3 billion of disposable income in the pockets of 65,000 pensioners. This follows the increase in 2021 from $20,500 to $25,000. Additionally, public assistance for 18,000 Guyanese in vulnerable situations has been increased from $12,000 to $14,000 per month. This will provide an additional $432 million of disposable income to these individuals. In order to boost the manufacturing sector, government also proposes lowering the excise tax rate further on gasoline and diesel from 20% to 10%. In Budget 2022, the agriculture sector also received a major boost to its various agencies. All of the current programs will be continued, as well as newer ones will be facilitated as government pushes Guyana to be food secure.
Our focus is on ramping up domestic production, promoting agro-processing and developing agro-processing capabilities, working with the region to remove all historic barriers and impediments to intra-regional trade, including some of the transport and logistics constraints, and promoting more widely agribusiness and complete transformation of regional food systems.
Dr. Singh noted that in 2022, there will also be massive infrastructural upgrades across the length and breadth of the country. This will aid in furthering the plethora of major transformational projects embarked on by the Ministry of Public Works. The Sheriff Mandela Expansion Program, Chedi Jagan International Airport, Linda Mubura Hill Highway, New Demerara River Crossing, and the Quarantine River Crossing are just a few of the myriad of mega projects being undertaken by the government.
Provisions of $8.3 billion for the rehabilitation of the Quarantine Main Road from Palmyra to Crabwood Creek. $6 billion for the construction of the Linden to Mabura Rohill Road. $3.4 billion for hinterland roads, $2.6 billion for the rehabilitation of the entire Soesdijk to Linden Highway, $2.3 billion for the East Bank to East Coast Demerara Road between Ogle to Eccles, $1.1 billion to complete Sheriff to Mandela, and in addition to that, sir, $15.2 billion for the construction and rehabilitation of additional urban and community roads.
In the area of improving healthcare, government will be introducing a dialysis support program that will finance up to $600,000 per annum worth of dialysis treatment for every dialysis patient. Senior prison officers are being urged to place more effort in the rehabilitation of inmates and not just keeping them locked up. This call was made by Minister of Home Affairs Robertson Ben at the Guyana Prison Service Senior Officers Conference.
If we want to reduce the recidivism rate at entry or overall, 13% overall, and 9 or 7% for new intakes, we have to improve the conditions. We can't reform them unless we improve the conditions. We can't make things better if we don't get them doing useful, gainful activities. We won't be able to make them perhaps a bit more genteel and relaxed and don't want to say philosophical, but more mindful of how they should comport themselves in society with other people if we don't have them doing useful activities. A fresh start for the prisoners, that we will train and identify those who are suitable, that when they come out of the prison just now, and through the CSSP project, not sure if Visraj is here, but we'll be giving people tools to go out so they can earn an income and support their families.
From the $6.8 billion budgeted to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, during Thursday's COVID-19 update, said his ministry is expecting to procure COVID-19 vaccines for children between 5 to 11 years old.
This year, we're expecting that we would be able to have access to vaccines for children between 11 to 5. And our understanding is that Pfizer, in the first quarter of this year, would also be submitting their information to the US FDA for a vaccine, which might be a 3-dose regimen for children between 5 to 6 months. So if those vaccines become available this year, then obviously we would like to have access to those vaccines, and we have set aside some resources to do that.
Additionally, medications, oxygen, personal protective equipment, and testing kits will be purchased to aid in the fight against the virus. Government projects that Guyana's overall growth for 2022, with the implementation of its transformative budget, will be 47.5%. This was disclosed by Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh.
Real gross domestic product. Mr. Speaker, real GDP is projected to grow by 47.5%, a rate of growth which no other country in the world is currently projected to achieve in 2022.
The projected growth will be fueled by oil production increases brought on by the installation of the Liza Unity floating production, storage, and offloading FPSO vessel. This also includes the operationalization of the Liza Phase 2 project in the first half of the year. With the University of Guyana's parallel road being months behind schedule, Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel has expressed his dissatisfaction during an inspection on Friday. The road was initially scheduled to be completed in September 2021 and now has a 2-week deadline. The $275.5 million road spans 920 meters long and 6.4 meters wide and is being executed by UNAS Civil and Building Construction.
This project is beyond the scheduled delivery. We've had challenges, we've had problems. I'm here today to ensure that before the passage of 2022 budget successfully through the Parliament, and for us to start new works, projects like these are wrapped up.
Phase 1 of the transformation of the Lamaha corridor is moving apace, which is much to the pleasure of Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel. The area, which was once filled with debris and overgrown bushes, is now unrecognizable and easy on the eyes.
The work that you see that is taking place here right now is preparation for the laying of asphaltic concrete, which will be done on this side Saturday tomorrow and on this side on Sunday. Where we are standing here, the walkway is already completed with the paving blocks. This section here, going back, we'll have a 5 feet section which will be all green. Trees will be planted, and we will have sitting benches, which is going to be, which is being sponsored by the private sector. We have 60 of these. The columns or the stanchions to hold them have already. They're casting the last 4, and these lights are being donated by a member of the private sector, and the procurement is well advanced to him where that is concerned. And across there, where we visited a while ago, that whole section, we are putting We are putting in 2 fountains, which I'm advised again, it was donated by members of the private sector. So by Sunday afternoon, we would be well advanced in getting this completed. I guess by Valentine's Day, lovers, which means all Guyanese, because we are a people of love, would be able to start using this thoroughfare for the safety of vehicles when they come to park on both sides.
Meanwhile, Minister Edgell says work is also advancing in the area that has been earmarked for the food court and art gallery. The project is the brainchild of President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali. The Ministry of Education on Friday launched the Atlantic Reader Series books 1 to 6 at the Redeemer Primary School. This collection is a series of locally produced textbooks designed to accelerate learners' literacy acquisition at the primary level. Minister of Education Priya Manichan stated that with the launch of these literacy resources, she is hopeful that it will contribute to the overarching goal of producing literate children by grade 4.
So today, with the launch of this Atlantic Reader series, we hope to remove ourselves quickly from that 52% of children around the world who are not reading at an appropriate level, grade level.
The Redeemer Primary School on Friday was able to commission a brand new ICT wing as it benefited from 100 megabits of internet connectivity. At the simple commissioning, Minister of Education Dr. Priya Manichan stated that the Redeemer Primary is the very first primary school in Guyana to have benefited from this huge intervention. Minister Manichan said this will be the model used for other primary schools as well.
Full setup that from the fiber optic cable, and every single classroom is connected to the internet and will be the school that we will model and send out the full integration of technology into the classroom for primary learners.
6 low-income families received the keys to their newly constructed homes under the Ministry of Housing and Water Core Home Support Program.
The 2-bedroom concrete structures were built at a cost of $4 million. The homes are equipped with all the amenities, including water and electricity. The beneficiaries were only required to make a contribution of $100,000 towards the home's construction. During his remarks at the official handing over ceremony, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell said that the initiative forms part of the government's National Housing Plan to provide affordable housing opportunities for all Guyanese.
So you have an opportunity here today to have a new beginning, a new life, an environment that you'll be happy to be in, where you can now have that safe space that you're living in. And so sometimes when we see on the news, you might be familiar, you were seeing one category of housing being built. But for what we do as a ministry and as a government, is that we also cater for every level of society, including the vulnerable.
Region 3's regional chairman Inshan Ayub commended the administration for implementing such an impactful initiative, noting that it will add to the many transformational projects in the Essequibo Islands West Demerara region. The program aims to improve the lives of citizens through better housing and basic infrastructure. Over 20 young Guyanese on Friday benefited from a cultural and creative grant valued at $1 million each, provided by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Minister Charles Ramson Jr. told the beneficiaries that the grant provides an opportunity for them to share their talents and passion through the creative industry, as it is a critical aspect of the country's diversity.
This may seem as though it is a moment for you to share in the success of the country and the success of our creative industry. It's also creating a form of a new pillar of our diversification, which is going to be an important component of us as a country, as a people, because that's what culture is about. Culture, it's about who we are. And when people come to our country, we have to be able to tell that story about who we are.
On Saturday, the Ministry of Housing and Water spearheaded an outreach on the east coast of the Demerara to spread awareness about its adequate housing and urban accessibility program. Under the Core Home program, families have a chance of getting a brand new 20 feet by 20 feet, 2-bedroom concrete home for a contribution of just $100,000.
In order to provide an opportunity for persons who don't have to necessarily travel to Georgetown, but they can be here and provide their necessary documents, they can be interviewed on the spot and to be able to know once their application is complete. And so this provides an opportunity for as much persons as possible within the target areas for the implementation of this project to be given an opportunity to apply.
We want to ensure that we bring the service to the communities so that everybody has an opportunity to access this program.
Is there anything else you might want to add?
I want to encourage people to take advantage of the opportunity. You know, there's a criticism sometimes that people need this help but are not getting it. So with the way we have rolled out this program is to ensure that we make it accessible.
That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website at dpi.gov.gy and our social media platforms as well. Goodbye.